Green 18. Green 19.
Every single week, I put my freaking heart and soul into this. I study my ass off. I don't go out there and laugh. It's not funny.
When we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing.
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were.
Good evening. Welcome to the Long Balls, the final load of the season.
Hell yeah.
I'm HOCH. With me always, Sailor Boy Seth and the Husker, Jordan, here to talk about football one more week. JBONE won't be making it. He's having sex with his wife. It's Valentine's Day. Allegedly.
He's having sex with him, one of the two.
JBONE let it be known that he only gets sex on government holidays and Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So he couldn't miss out. It was sex with the Long Balls. Unfortunately,
Season
he lost
finale.
out.
He's not
Little
here.
did he know we're going to be blowing huge loads here, so he's missing out. Did everybody watch the Super Bowl?
We did, man.
Yeah.
It was a good game. Actually, so my little guy had an ear infection, and we had to. I had to go upstairs with him. I watched the whole second half on my phone, streaming on Hulu. So shout out to the Hulu app. It was super stable, and it actually wasn't that bad of an experience.
I figure we'll just get the Super Bowl talk out of the way, then we'll do a little predicting of the NFC next season and our picks for next year. But yeah, the Super Bowl. My first thought, I just got to get it out there. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care that the Eagles player who held is coming out and saying that he held. I don't give a fuck. You don't make that call in that point in the game, and Dungy make the point like, well, if it, you got to call off sides in that point. It's like, yeah, it's totally different. Calling off sides and calling offensive or calling defensive holding on that play. It's two totally different things. And people will make the point like, well, if it's a penalty in the first quarter, it's a penalty in the fourth quarter.
No,
I also push back on that. We're giving these refs so much judgment. Like, they got to make this judgment and that judgment. Why can't that be a judgment they make? Like, do I make this call at this point in the game? Because that wasn't going to be a catch regardless.
Yep.
And it ruined the game. And I have no stake in the game. Like, I really don't care that the Chiefs won. I like the Chiefs. I don't mind them. I don't mind the Eagles. So I'm objectively saying that that's a bullshit call. Even if the player on defense recognized that it by the book, it is a holding, I guess.
Yeah, it just killed the entertainment value. We were looking to have a super dramatic finish, and at that point, unless the Chiefs kicker just has an all-time fucking botch, like, yeah, you knew the game was over, man. Yeah, I mean, dude, he grabbed his jersey, but like I said in the group chat, I don't think that was a penalty in the second quarter. It didn't affect the play. To me, they could call defensive or offensive holding on every single play. That shit happens every single play of the game. I don't think that one had any effect, man. It looked like Patrick Mahomes was pretty much just throwing the ball away on that last pass anyways. I just don't know how you call that, man. Like, yeah, by letter of the law, it may have been a penalty, but there's an unwritten rule that on those game-deciding plays, unless it's like a game-changing penalty, you don't throw the flag. They never have. And yeah, I don't know what that ref was fucking thinking, unless he had some money on the game or something, man.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that it comes down to that. I will say though, I know it was the final the nail in the coffin for the Eagles, but they had plenty of chances to put that game away. But I agree, you cannot make that call there. After watching the replay and stuff, Greg Olsen even said, he's like, I mean, if that's what you're going to call, you could probably call it on every single play, no matter what happens. And like I said, Mahomes was not trying to complete that pass. He was throwing it out of the end zone. He knew that play was dead. And I don't know, man. I don't get it. And then, I don't know, man. Juju, like, trying to, like, dance on people's grave on Twitter is just unfucking real to me. Like,
he sucks, dude. The only reason he's even doing anything is because he got signed by the Chiefs. Literally, any wide receiver could put up numbers in that offense, man.
I missed Juju. What'd he do?
Today
He posted it was like a grade school Valentine's Day card of James Bradbury, and it said, "I'll always hold you when it's important."
That's bold.
And then A.J. Brown went in on him.
Yeah, A.J. Brown basically told him he would have been out of the league if it wasn't for the Chiefs
Patrick
rescuing him on a 1-year deal. Called him TikTok boy.
Yeah, and no one thinks that Juju's like going to be on the Chiefs for a long period of time. He was just a fill-in until they can find an alpha dog.
Yep.
So, yeah, fuck him.
I thought that was a classic game of two halves, man. Like I really think if they would have had a couple breaks differently in that first half, I think the Eagles could have pretty much polished that thing off at halftime. They could have went in with like a 28-7 lead or something like that. But they made enough mistakes and the Chiefs got enough breaks that they were in close. And I don't know what the hell happened at halftime, but it seemed like the Eagles just had no answers schematically, offensively or defensively, for what KC was doing to them.
So I said this a couple times this season. The Eagles, for some reason, they come out like a fucking blaze of fucking glory in the first half. And then whatever happens in the locker room, I don't know if they all take a nap or what the hell they do, or they have like a really filling meal or whatever. But dude, there was so much like the Falcons. They just come out in the third quarter and it looks like they're just sleepwalking through the game. That first drive that Kansas City put together, the Eagles didn't even look like they wanted to even try on defense. Like, I just don't get it. I mean, as much as we all talked about, and we all did, everybody did, talked about how good the Eagles' defense and their defensive line was, they just no-showed the entire game. Like, the D-line did nothing in that game. I don't know, man. It was a weird game to me.
It was a weird game.
What's hilarious is both coordinators got hired as head coaches today. We got the offensive coordinator in Arizona, got the defensive coordinator. But I guess the Eagles fans on Twitter, everyone hates that they lost their offensive coordinator, but everybody's glad that they're getting a new defensive coordinator.
Dude, so, the rumor was that came down to him, Vance Joseph, and who the hell was the other one? Brian Flores. That was the three final candidates. Oh, no, and the dude from the Bengals, their defensive coordinator. That was the final candidates for the Cardinals job, and that's who they picked after that game. Like, I don't know, man.
I'm sure it was already in place before. They're not going to be like, hire him, and then the game happens. He's like, you know what? We're going to go in a different direction.
So I think that's part of the reason Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job, and he must be a terrible interview also. But, I mean, how much of this is anyone attributing to him? Like, dude, Mahomes is the piece. Like, I don't think you can just replace Mahomes in that offense and it just clicks like it does now. Like, Mahomes is the piece to that offense. It's not like Bieniemy is
and Andy Reid, man.
Yeah,
I feel like Andy Reid's it's still his scheme. Like even Eric Bieniemy's the one dialing up play to play. It's still Andy Reid's offense.
But even now, if Andy Reid retired, I don't think the Chiefs miss a beat with whoever the fuck they bring in. Because when you have Mahomes, you're always going to be in at least the AFC Championship game, probably.
Yeah, they're still going to be in the mix. Level. I do think Andy Reid is a damn good coach, though.
No, I'm saying he is a good coach, but he's already laid the foundation. He's given Mahomes what he needs to be a success in the NFL. I'm not saying Reid wasn't a part of that, but I'm saying now Mahomes has learned all of what Andy Reid has to offer, so he's kind of just his own coach now. And it's just like Brady and Manning. When you have a player like that, they're pretty much the offensive coordinator. They just go out there, look over the defense. Here's what we're going to do. So that's why I'm glad, because we were candidates to get the Chiefs offensive coordinator, and I don't want him. We don't need a guy who had Mahomes as starting quarterback. I'm not saying that what's his name? Stryken? Is that how you pronounce it? I'm not good at names.
It's your coach.
I know. I don't give a. That's how much I don't care. But like, he helped make Hurts what he is, I guess, more than like inheriting it. I don't know. It just feels like this was the better hire for us. And there's a reason the guy, Bieniemy, however the fuck you say his name, can't get a head coaching job. I just think people realize that he's kind of a product of the Andy Reid Mahomes system, and team wants to take the chance.
And, to go back historically, last time you guys hired Eagles offensive coordinator, it worked out great. So I see nothing but Super Bowls in the next few years for the Colts, man.
What's hilarious about this whole Eagles-Colts relationship is, so the Eagles hire Peterson. Peterson hires Reich. We hire Reich. The Eagles fire Peterson and then hire Sirianni, who's just a descendant of Peterson. And then we fire Reich, and then we just hire Stryken, who's just a descendant of Reich, or in some has those ties. At least maybe if he wasn't on his staff, there's that tie. So it's almost like the Eagles and Colts are locked into this offensive system that both teams just like, so they just keep trading coordinators and whatnot to fucking keep it going. I don't know. It's weird.
That's a big loss, though, for the Eagles, man. Losing both coordinators after losing the Super Bowl. I don't care what Eagles fans say about the defensive coordinator or the offensive coordinator. when you lose both coordinators, that's a fucking problem. Like it usually does not end well for the next season. I mean, the Bills lost their offensive coordinator, and you could definitely see the early in the season, they did not, outside that first game, they did not look right on offense for about 5-6 weeks. I mean, and even towards the end of the season, like
it was never as good as it was last year. Yeah, the Bills' defense was their stronger side of the ball this season.
Yeah, Dabble is just. I mean, I could see the similar results for the Colts. I mean, obviously they're gonna have to get a quarterback, but that dude runs a good offense, man. His offense is crisp, and I mean, everybody was doubting Jalen Hurts, and dude, he was arguably the best player in that game. Probably was the best player in that game outside of that one play. I mean, dude, he balled out.
Yeah,
I mean, he hit that. There was one play where they didn't complete the pass, but he was like fading backwards and he hit Quez Watkins on like a 40-yard pass and it hit him right in the hands and he dropped it. That play, I was just like, holy shit, dude. This dude's awesome.
Yeah, it hurts the truth.
And the dude called the plays for Philly because when Wright got the job, he didn't even call the plays for Philly. And Sirianni didn't call the plays for the Colts when he got the Eagles job.
I think that there's a lot more to. I mean, Andy Reid is who Andy Reid is. He's awesome, but if you like watch like historically, a lot of the coaches that either call offensive or defensive plays as the head coach, I mean, dude, a lot of times their teams suffer because they're only focusing on one side of the ball. I think it's smart to delegate and actually have good coordinators that you trust. I mean, there's something to it. Yeah, Andy Reid's unreal. So, I mean, he always has a great defensive coordinator too, so that helps him a lot. But I think delegating as a head coach is one of the biggest things because, I mean, shit, it happened to the Falcons in the Super Bowl. Like, Dan Quinn only gave a shit about defense. That's all he cared about. And usually at that moment, if he was just neutral and he had an offensive and a defensive coordinator calling plays, I think you probably would have went over and chewed Shanahan's ass, but he was too worried about his defense getting shredded. I don't know, man. I think there's more to that than people want to talk about. And I just feel like if you delegate down, I feel like that's a better move as a head coach.
And the coach is hands-on in the prep for the week. Like, he's building the game plan. He's just game day. He's focusing on more clock management, which some of these coaches should focus more on clock management than they do because some of them are fucking terrible at that.
Sirianni fucked up bad. End of the first half when they ran that sneak with Hurts, they should have taken a timeout at that spot. I mean, they wasted 30 seconds going to the next play. I felt like they should have got a touchdown on that drive.
Yeah.
Me and Seth were texting back and forth. We both said the Eagles could have easily been up 28-7 at halftime. Like, that game could have been a massacre at halftime.
That's what I was thinking because I actually watched the Super Bowl and the first half.
You watched some good football, huh?
It felt like that the Eagles should have been, even though the score was close. It's like, man, the Eagles have completely dominated this game. And I almost think that's why the second half they came out and they're like, oh, we're fine. These guys can't hang with us. And, you know.
That fucking fumble, man, it happened in the second quarter, so it felt like it kind of faded away, but that really decided the fucking game, dude, when Jalen Hurts just pitched him a fucking touchdown.
But, yeah, if you go back to last week, they were evenly matched. We went through all the stats where they were completely even on paper, and then the Super Bowl comes down 35-35 like that. It's just crazy. Like, the two most evenly matched teams in Super Bowl history go on to play probably the most evenly matched Super Bowl in NFL history.
Yeah, it was a good game.
I really wish they wouldn't have called that hold. We would have got to see the Eagles get a drive in at the end of that game. I think that would have turned that game into an absolute classic if we would have got that last drive. I just feel like everybody knew it was coming. I mean, the minute they called that hold, everybody knew that game was over at that point. Like, there was no way. And then I thought McKinnon was about to accidentally score a touchdown. I was like, oh man, if they seriously give the Eagles a shot after that. But
yeah, smart play by him.
Ace on the Tavern, he placed a bet for McKinnon, and it was like so many yards this, and he had covered two of them. All he needed was anytime score for McKinnon. So that would have gave him the bet, and he would have won $1,000. But since he took the knee, the bet didn't cover. And I bet you that happened to fucking tons of people.
So I don't know if I could resist scoring the game-winning touchdown, man. I don't know if I'd be able to. Yeah, exactly. I may just take that ass cheering from the coach and fucking run it in anyways.
I had a guy that works at Farmers. He put in a parlay on the game, and it came down to Harrison Butker scoring under 7.5 points. They kicked that field goal, and it gave Harrison Butker 8 points, and it cost him $4,800.
Damn.
Dude, I had Kenneth Gainwell for $200 for the first touchdown, and he originally scored the first touchdown. Then they brought it back to like the 40-yard line. I was like, God damn it, dude.
Oh man, that's why I can't bet. I almost did, but I just can't do it because every bet I would have placed, I probably would have fucking lost because I would have taken the over, but I probably would have parlayed it with the Eagles winning, so I would have lost that bet. I probably would have taken Jalen's. He had to have covered all of his fucking prop bets. There's no way Hurts didn't.
He covered every single thing.
I would have taken Mahomes prop bets. I don't know if he covered or not.
He only covered the touchdowns. That's the only thing he covered.
Yeah, he didn't have much yardage at all.
I have a bold prediction, and that is the first time the Chiefs play at Philly, a Chiefs fan is going to be beat to death in the parking lot. Because Philly fans are always notoriously terrible. And to lose in the Super Bowl to the Chiefs in that way, because Philly fans are fucking calling bullshit on that penalty. So they're just looking to just fucking beat the fuck out of a Chiefs fan. So if you're a Chiefs fan, steer clear of Philly, at least in the first time back.
We gotta bring up one more thing too. The Chiefs playing off this whole fucking we were underdogs all year bullshit.
What are they talking about?
Come on, man. You have the best fucking player in the world.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean underdogs? You guys weren't underdogs ever. Why? Because they favored the Bengals because they had beat you 3 times and nobody knew if Mahomes was going to be okay or that this was a pick'em game. Shut the fuck up with
I think that's just
Travis
like a jock
Kelce
thing, man.
Yeah,
we
Travis
hear that like
Kelce
every
was
year,
pissing
dude.
me off. Like everything he said.
The Patriots would always do that shit. They'd be like, nobody believed in us. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? We've seen you guys win like 5 fucking Super Bowls, dude. We all
and you have the best quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
Like every time they would say that, it's like you have the best quarterback of all time and arguably the best coach. It's like who didn't believe that the Patriots had a chance to win?
I saw a TikTok where it showed that clip of Travis Kelce being like, no one thought we could win. And it like freeze frame just popped up like 50 fucking newspaper headlines from across the country picking the Chiefs to win.
And probably if you did the same thing for preseason predictions, I'm sure some people would pick the Bengals or the Bills. I'm sure there was a good amount of national media picking the Chiefs
they were definitely
to win
in
the
the
Super
handful
Bowl.
of favorites, man.
Yeah, I don't get it.
You don't get a Cinderella story with the best player in the NFL on your team.
And I don't think anybody picking the Bengals 2 weeks ago was offensive at all. I mean, dude, they had won 10 straight games at that point. It wasn't like they were just rolling in there like, oh man, Cinderella team, we're gonna pick them over the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Like,
and Pat Mahomes was on a bum wheel.
Yeah, nobody knew how he was even gonna play in that game.
He was fucking fine. They were just play this shit up to create some non-story for some inspiration. Like Mahomes taped up his ankle and he got out there and he plays. Like, no, he was absolutely fine. Gets on my nerves. That nonsense.
All right, let's move on from that shit.
All right, well, from the Super Bowl, moving on. Season's moving on, motherfucker. It's over. And the best thing about it is all the bitching, all the complaints, everyone but the Chiefs fan base is on level playing field now because 31 teams didn't win the fucking Super Bowl. And I was just doing a little research, and there's like fucking, I think 11 teams that have never won a Super Bowl. Can you believe that? And
a few that still have never even made one.
Your boys right there, the Falcons, are one of them. And I looked up to see when they came in the league. 1965, the Falcons joined the NFL and have never won a Super Bowl. It just goes to show, man, that God, they're hard to come by.
It's fucking hard, man.
And when Eagles fans feel deflated because once you get there and you lose, you're like, fuck, what's the odds we're going to get there again? Like this was our shot to win for the next few years.
You don't get any jump start the next season. You're right back in the bottom of the valley, fucking 0-0, and you got to climb all the way out. I think the Bills had to deal with that this year, man.
It's like, at least if you're the Chiefs, it's like, well, at least we did win it last year. But the Eagles, like, fuck, we lost it, and now we're not going to get back.
How about Philadelphia in general, dude? They had the Phillies in the World Series, lost that. Then they had arguably the best team in the league this year in the NFL and lost that. Like, fuck, I
think their MLS team lost to him. I don't think anybody gives a shit about MLS, but I saw they lost also.
It's a fucking brutal 3-month stretch.
Dude, I think karma, man.
The Super Bowl is definitely, I think, the hardest championship to win out of the Big Four in America, just because it's a single game playoff, dude. It's not enough to be the best team. You got to be the best team to be kind of in position. And then you got to hope, you have 3 or 4 straight games where you don't have any fucking fluky injuries or crazy fucking, tipped passes that get run back for a touchdown. Like football is just, definitely got the most randomness baked into it out of all our big 4 sports in North America. Because the other ones are best of 7 series. Like how many times do you really see an upset in like the NBA finals or like NHL or anything,
That's for the most part in the NBA, with very few exceptions, the best team in the league wins. And I'm not saying the Chiefs weren't the best team in the NFL this year. They probably were, but there's more, I'd say more often than not, the best overall team in the NFL doesn't end up winning the Super Bowl.
Did you guys see after the game? I wish I could find the tweet now. I can't find it, but the last 10 Super Bowls, the starting running back for the winning team has been paid less than $2.5 million. So, I mean,
go Titans. Playing Derrick Henry fucking $9 million.
Yep, should be right there.
Well, we're getting ready to have to pay Jonathan Taylor, and it's like, I don't even know if we fucking should for.
Even those top line running backs, dude, like guys like Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, like they're badass, right? But I still feel like you could get fucking 80% of their production for like a quarter of the price,
Yeah, I mean,
when's the last time the best running back in the NFL was on the Super Bowl winners?
I don't know. I just told you it went back 10 years, and he hasn't been on it in 10 years.
That's nuts. Because even like LaDainian Tomlinson never played in the Super Bowl.
It.
Le'Veon Bell never played in the. Barry Sanders never played.
Le'Veon Bell got a Super Bowl.
Oh, because he played on the fucking Chiefs sign. Yeah, but
no. He was on the fucking Steelers, dude.
In 2008, he was on the 08 Steelers.
Oh yeah, fuck.
That's the last time they won, dude.
Yeah, I was thinking it was later than that.
The Patriots, the Patriots never had a stud running back all those years. They had Corey Dillon back in like 2004, which he was really good. But I mean, dude, that's almost 20 fucking years ago at this point.
Was it last year's Chiefs or the Super Bowl Chiefs that he joined? That Bell joined? Did he get the ring with them, or did he join last season?
Yeah, I think
him and McCoy both. McCoy joined last year, I thought, or maybe
LaShawn McCoy was there in 2019. I think LaShawn McCoy got one in 2019. I think Le'Veon Bell came on afterwards.
And then Melvin Gordon got one this year for being on the practice squad of the Chiefs.
Nice,
man.
Got released by the
one down, right?
Did not play a single down. Didn't even get to suit up for one game.
Marshawn Lynch in 2013. That's it. I don't even know if he was the best running back in the league that year. I think that's the last time there was like a real like stud running back on the Super Bowl winning team.
It's just crazy when you play fantasy every year. You hear these players like 1 year Melvin Gordon's fucking first round pick, or if you're in an auction draft, you're giving like $50-$60 for him, and now he's on the fucking Chiefs practice squad like 2 or 3 seasons later. The running back careers are. Fuck, man. They just have no longevity at all.
That's why what Derrick Henry's doing so crazy, man. I thought he was cooked 2 years ago, man. He's still fucking getting it done. Like, yeah, I don't know how. I still think the Titans should trade him this offseason. If somebody will give them like a 3rd or 4th round pick, I think it'd be worth moving him.
But he's a good example of how running backs just don't win you Super Bowl. You want a good one, of course. Every team wants a good running back, but not $9 million good.
You can spend that money's better spent elsewhere for sure.
A receiver. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for the Super Bowl, unless anybody has any final thoughts on the big game. The granddaddy of... No, wait, that's the Rose Bowl. Super Bowl.
We're good.
Well, that's it.
All right, fellas. Well, let's... How about we talk a little next season, you know? Sometimes it's just tough to let go. Although, I'm so glad football season's over. I always feel fucking exhausted, even though I only watch the Colts games, so I watch like 17 games a year. It just feels exhausting having to dedicate a Sunday to it, and feels good to get that off my back. So we're gonna move into next season though, because fuck it, and we're gonna tackle the NFC. We're gonna do some division winners here, just division winners. We did AFC last week, NFC. So we'll start off with the East: Philly, Dallas, Giants, Commanders.
I think Dallas is going to win it next year, man. I think Philly's got a little bit of Super Bowl hangover, and I see another classic Dallas season, winning 13, 14 games and fucking losing the first playoff game.
I'm going to take the Eagles again. Dallas made no changes, man. I mean, outside of Kellen, I mean, I guess they changed their offensive coordinator, but dude, I just don't trust Mike McCarthy, man. He's just not a good coach.
They're loaded though, talent-wise, man. Like they got they're right there behind the Eagles for one of the best rosters in the league, man, as far as talent goes.
Well, that just goes to show you where coaching comes into play. I don't think anyone's impressed with Mike McCarthy. No one was impressed with him on the Packers. Nobody's impressed with him on the Cowboys. And I just think that Philly has the core to be good for the next. I mean, if Hurts ends up, because Hurts played like an MVP caliber player in the Super Bowl.
He probably would have been
MVP. Didn't lose him the game at all.
He would have been regular season MVP if he wouldn't have got hurt, I think, also.
Yeah, he would have definitely won it.
If Hurts is elite like he showed he can be, the Eagles are going to be in the mix for fucking years to come. And Dak hasn't shown – he's shown that he could be great in stretches, but he's so inconsistent that I just don't have any faith in Dallas at all.
The Eagles got 2 first-round draft picks also.
They have a top 10 pick. They have the number 10 pick. They were talking about them unloading a couple guys like Miles Sanders probably won't be on that team next year. It sounds like Kelsey's going to retire, which they already drafted his replacement this year. Dude, I think that team could easily run it back. I mean, having A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Goddard's a damn good start for any team.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to be in the mix, man. One of the favorites come out of the NFC. I just see between the 2 new coordinators and just like, the typical Super Bowl hangover, I just see them not having quite a stronger. I think they could actually be a better team, but not have as strong of a regular season as they did this past year.
I think the best coach in that division is Dabble, though, honestly, at this point.
If he had a better quarterback, I still think Daniel Jones kind of limits really how far you're going to go. But if they had a better quarterback, I'd probably pick them to win the division because he's an excellent coach.
I think you have to run Jones back, though, man. Because just looking at what's on the market and where you're drafting, you have no choice. You gotta run it back with him.
He's fine as a stopgap until something better comes along. He was fine this season.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Washington, they're gonna be a mess with the quarterback position, so I don't think they're gonna be any serious threat. So much. Philly for me. We got the North, the Vikings, the Lions, the Pack, the Bears.
I'll go Packers, man. I think Aaron Rodgers ends up coming back, and I think they kind of carry on some of that momentum they had second half of the season up until that last game against Detroit. I think Packers end up taking it.
I'm gonna go Vikings. I mean, they're built to win in the regular season. I still don't think they're built to win in the playoffs, but I mean they got Brian Flores be their defensive coordinator, so that's a big swing. And I don't know, man. Any team that has Justin Jefferson as your number 1 wide receiver is going to be tough to beat because that dude's hard to guard. So, yeah, I still think they're going to be really good. And it sounds like Dalvin Cook's finally getting the surgery he needed to get. So, I think they're going to still be really good. That's a good division, though, outside of the Bears, who absolutely stink. But that's a good division.
Dude, I think the Bears could be on the come up, man. I think they could level up next season.
Anytime the Bears have any expectations this year, they got a bunch of free agent money. They'll blow it. They'll sign.
They got the first pick of the draft too. They're probably going to trade out of to get them.
They'll fuck it up, guaranteed.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They're definitely going to trade out of it. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Colts.
The Colts are going to trade up to 1, I think.
I've heard rumors. I don't want us to. I want us to stick at 4 and see what happens. But I think Aaron Rodgers is going to go do ayahuasca and figure out his future. And I just don't – I mean, I don't know if the Packers keep him. Because every season it's this, and they know eventually they have to move on from him. And I had heard rumblings that Jordan Love said that he wants to be traded if he's not starting this. I mean, not that it's his choice, but when you hear the grumblings of your supposed future quarterback, which I don't think they have any reason to suspect that he still is, because I feel like if he showed any signs of being the future of the franchise, that they would have shipped Aaron Rodgers out. Yeah, I think they got him in training camp, saw that he's just your average QB, and they're like, all right, we're going to keep Rodgers then. So I'm not convinced that Jordan Love is actually the future, or I think he would have been on the field sooner. But I'm going to go with the Vikings because Kirk Cousins is just good enough to lead that division. Although the Lions, dare I say, the Lions have a shot next season.
They got 2 first-round picks too, don't they?
They have
Yeah, they got
The Rams, which is
yeah.
a good one. They have
They
the
have
LA's pick, which is
Yeah,
fucking
they
solid.
have like
That's
the 6th pick and like the 16th pick. Like they definitely got some room to work there. So, and they were close last year. I mean, I still don't think Jared Goff can get you there though. I know he got him there with the Rams, but that team was loaded. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I was looking at a list today, and the list had Goff as the 10th best quarterback in the NFL. And then I looked at the quarterbacks below him, and it's like, man, it's tough to argue
Might
it.
be, man.
Just because,
Especially
not
with the
because
way
he's
he
amazing,
played.
but what's
He's just
below him.
competent. Yeah.
He was probably the 10th best quarterback this season. I don't think that's crazy at all.
That's what I'm saying.
Their offense is pretty explosive.
And so if they use those 2 picks, because I know you're like, oh, let's use one offense, one on defense. It's like, no, man, your offense is almost there.
Make a strength to strength. Yeah, I'm all about that too, man. Make a strength to strength and just try to coach up the other side of the ball. You could do a lot better job just coaching up a defense, right? You can scheme and do some shit on defense. Offense, you got to have talent.
Because they were finished at the top of the league in offense somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how they ended the season, but there were I know
for
few
a while
stretches
there,
where they were dominating on offense.
For a while there, they had the highest ever combined points per game and points allowed per game in NFL history. So they were just shootouts every single week.
Yeah, they were at like 35.1 scored and 35.3 allowed a game. That's insane, dude.
Well, Lions fans deserve to see a good offense, so I think they've used both of those picks on offense and just go fucking all out on that. And then, like you said, coach up the defense. But ultimately, Minnesota, until I'm never going to pick Detroit to win the division ever. Even if they win it, they could go have the perfect season and win the division in the Super Bowl. And then next year, I wouldn't pick them to win the division because I just have no faith in them as a franchise. Another team that's never won a Super Bowl, they never even made it. The Browns and the Lions, and they were there since the merger, man. They were the NFL team because they dominated the NFL. But I had a theory is the reason those 2 teams dominated the NFL because they just had to play each other. So it was like one of the 2 teams had to be good.
I think the Lions won something like 4 NFL championships back in the 50s and just have not done shit since.
If we have to make a pact in our lifetime, if there's ever a Lions Browns Super Bowl, we all have to get together and watch it live. Not at the game, but we all have to go to the same place and watch it. Yeah. That's a pact we're making on this show right now.
Because you probably know the end is near, so you want to see all your friends one last time, man, before some shit goes down.
We'll meet somewhere, maybe at the farm, down on Seth's farm.
That sounds good.
All right, we got the South: Bucks, Panthers, Saints, Falcons.
This one's, man, it's too early to call. I think we need to see what the QB carousel does because I've heard Lamar Jackson rumored with the Falcons and the Panthers. You know, Derek Carr might end up being able to just sign outright with the Saints.
Yeah, he's released, which I fucking love. We could talk about that for a second. I love what Carr did to the Raiders. Yeah. He has the no trade clause. And he's like, I'm not accepting any trade at all because I'm not going to handicap the team I'm going to go to.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah, man. He owes the Raiders nothing.
I love it. They deserve what they got. They never appreciated Carr, and I appreciate Carr. If it was 3 seasons ago, I want him on the Colts, but I'm tired of this fucking like picking up a old QB to try to kick the tires on it. If it wasn't for that, I'd totally want him.
Yeah.
If we get him, I won't bitch, but
you tired of the sloppy seconds.
I am. I think we need, at least if we're gonna get, even if the draft pick's a bust, at least
you gave it a shot. Else,
yeah.
So I'm just gonna assume that everybody's standing pat for now instead of trying to predict where all these QBs go. I really like how Carolina looked the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season, and I see them being probably the shittiest division winner in the league, but winning the NFC South at like 9-8, something like that. He wants to pick the Falcons.
No.
He's got the hat. He wants to say it, but he doesn't want to get clowned.
I do think the Panthers are probably the most well put together team as far as like a defensive unit's concerned. I still have major doubts about their offense because they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
I think the Falcons probably have the best young offense in that division, and if Ritter does anything, I feel like they could win 9 or 10 games. I mean, they have the easiest schedule in the NFL next year, so anything's possible. But yeah, I'm going to go Panthers for now.
This one is tough because all these teams, huge question marks. It
should be the shittiest division in football again.
We don't even know who's the starting quarterback for any of these teams, really.
No.
I mean, the Falcons are probably starting Ritter, but
you can immediately rule the Bucs out there doing nothing next year. Like I have a
exactly,
feeling
but I feel the same way about all of them.
The Bucs are going to dump a bunch of players, though.
They're going to take next season as like a recovery year to just get back healthy with the cap.
Yeah, they're like $60 million over the cap right now. They got to dump a bunch of guys before the draft even happens.
The Saints are in cap hell too, so that whole division's in fucking cap hell. So you know what? I'll go with the Panthers also, just because I think New Orleans and Tampa are both cleaning house this season.
I don't think New Orleans is going to clean house, dude. Them bringing in Carr tells me they're going to try to win again, which is fucking stupid. Just cut your losses. And
their GM, they got Mickey Loomis. I don't know what kind of accounting he's doing, but he it seems like we always hear about the Saints being in cap hell, and they somehow end up going out and signing like 3 free agents and shit and bringing them in. So I don't know how they're cooking the books down there, man. But it seems like they always find a way to bring a few more players in.
Well, that Carr will have to take a huge discount. And I'm not saying Carr is going to break the bank with whoever he goes to, but I think still even he'll have to take a discount to go to the Saints.
Carr is going to definitely get offered a decent-sized contract by somebody, though, dude. We've talked about the quarterback thing. There, outside of 6 teams, nobody is for sure a quarterback.
No, I'm not saying he isn't going to get paid, but I don't think it's going to be this huge. I don't think it's going to be like Dak Prescott money or anything like that. And I think he's better than Dak Prescott, but I don't think he's going to get paid as much as he is. Do you think any team's going to pay him Dak money?
No, but I think Jimmy G and Carr are both going to get about the same amount of money.
If I was Carr, man, I think his best move might be to just take a 1-year deal at like the market rate, for a starting quarterback, which still at this point is like 20-25 million, and just try, bet on himself, man. And then he could probably go cash out with a real big deal wherever he goes after this season.
Dude, the Jets have to end up with one of Carr, Rodgers. They have to get an established quarterback. I'm not saying Carr is fantastic, but dude, if they would have had Derek Carr, that team probably wins 12 games this year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all they were missing.
They're loaded. They have the offensive and defensive rookie of the year.
And Jimmy G's out there. So
I think there's actually with the Jets.
Yeah.
It's a decent QB market. Like I said, if the Colts hadn't done this for the last 3 or 4 years, I'd be on board for some of these, but now I'm just ready for someone I don't know how they play, because you know what you're getting with those guys.
Yeah.
Good or bad. All right.
I think we can skip the West. I think we all know who we're picking in the West.
Niners, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals.
Yeah, I think Niners. I think Rams continue their decline. This is McVay's last year for a while in the NFL. Geno Smith's his Cinderella horse and carriage, I think, turns back into a pumpkin this season. He comes crashing back down to earth, and I think Niners run away with it again.
Yeah, I don't even think anybody's going to get close. I think Seattle will still be a decent team. I don't think they're going to have any chance of winning that division, though. And yeah, I think LA is going to be – Arizona might end up being the worst team in football this year, to be completely honest with you. It doesn't even sound like they know if Kyler's even going to be healthy for day one.
Or if he's even good when he is healthy.
Yeah, that team's in deep shit.
I would say the Niners, but Seattle played pretty well in a year that they were supposed to be really bad. And they're bringing, I don't know how much of that team they're bringing back, but it feels like, and they have a high draft pick too. They have someone's draft pick.
Yeah, they got the Broncos.
The Broncos. Yeah. Duh. So they got a decent draft picks coming in, and they re-signed Geno, so there's that, the offense is coming back. They still have, what's-his-face, Metcalf, and is Lockett?
Yeah, Tyler Lockett.
You never know.
I mean,
they just can't stay healthy, so
the Niners don't even know who their quarterback is right now.
It's true, but they have options at least.
Yeah.
So.
Well, both of their quarterbacks are currently hurt.
All right, fellas. We did the AFC. We did the NFC. Let's just predict the Super Bowl next year. Seth, who's your Super Bowl next year?
So I think coming out of the AFC, I think it's going to be the Bills, man. Their front office has generally been pretty smart over the last few years, and I think they got a sense that the window is closing. So I think they make a few more additional moves like they did this past year, grabbing Von Miller, grabbing Naheem Hines off the Colts, add a couple more pieces. And I think they finally get over the hump, and the Bills make it out of the AFC, only to lose to the Trey Lance-led San Francisco 49ers. I think Trey Lance is going to come into camp healthy. I think he's going to win that job. We're going to finally see what a dude with his physical tools can do in that Shanahan offense. And I think the Niners just steamroll all the way to the Super Bowl, man. I'm picking Niners over Bills.
I think the two favorites. And this is just playing right into Kansas City people bitching about them getting overlooked, but I seriously think the two favorites in the AFC are the Bills and the Bengals going into next season. I think the Bengals are going to go all out next year too, because we've talked about it, dude. Who knows if they'll even be able to afford to pay everyone, or if they'll pay everyone.
They got a lot of guys on that first contract that are balling out right now, man. They got some tough choices to make next couple years.
Dude, they're going to have to pay Chase and Higgins both wide receiver one money, which one of them's not going to get it, and whoever doesn't get it,
Chase is getting it.
Yeah,
Higgins is not.
They can't let Jamar Chase leave.
You cannot
look at all the number one wide receivers been getting traded the last few years, though, dude. the Chiefs.
But
but
you got the Burrow Chase connection. Like, I had heard that the Bengals weren't even going to draft Chase, but Burrow was like, draft Chase, and they did, and now they've made magic.
I feel like Higgins would be a little bit cheaper than Chase, man. I wouldn't be shocked if Chase got traded. We've just seen so many wide receiver ones get moved over the last couple of years.
Okay, so I'm gonna go. I think the Bills. I think they're gonna make it to the Super Bowl, whether or not they win. I don't know, man. They need to like burn down that stadium or something after they make the Super Bowl and just like erase pictures. So I'll go Bills over. I mean, I still think the 49ers are the best team in the NFC if they're healthy. Problem is, like I just said, nobody knows who their quarterback is at this point because they're both hurt right now. But I just feel like they have the best overall team.
Who are you picking then?
Bills over Niners.
I pick Niners over Bills. He's got Bills over Niners.
It's taking everything I have not to take Indy in the AFC. I feel like with the right QB,
we're right there.
We're just right there. But
everything in me, not to pick Indy.
I don't know. I think the Bengals, Burrow just feels like he has that it factor, and he should have been in the Super Bowl this year, I think. I think the Chiefs are getting a lot of good calls go their way. I'm not saying Mahomes isn't the best QB in the league. I'm saying the Chiefs as a whole, I think, are getting some pretty generous.
They had a lot of breaks, man.
Feels like every call goes in their favor. So I think they're due to lose. I think Burrow's in. So I'm going to go Cincy, and I'm going to go Minnesota, man. I'm going to throw it out there. I think it's the year they finally get over the hump. Never won a Super Bowl. Same thing happened to them in the 70s as the Bills in the 90s. They lost 4 straight Super Bowls. I went in this huge rabbit hole of Super Bowl
Fran Tarkenton, the freaking was their quarterback, man. Scrambling machine.
Can you seriously imagine if we get Bengals and Vikings in the Super Bowl? Though that's almost as unlikely as Lions and Browns.
The NFL would be so pissed, man. That's not two prime markets.
It would be great because 2 teams are playing in the Super Bowl that haven't won a Super Bowl, and I'm rooting for teams. I want to see change. I'd love to see a fucking Lions-Browns Super Bowl. The NFL would fucking hate it. They would never let that happen.
No. It's in Vegas next year, too. They're going to want that to be the biggest Super Bowl ever, guaranteed.
Deshaun Watson should be motivated then, because isn't prostitution legal in Nevada?
Mm-hmm.
He should be all fucking about it then, dude. If there's ever a year the Browns are going to go to the Super Bowl, it's next year.
And most women in Vegas are whores, prostitute or not. So you can go there and get tons of hand jobs.
He's going to be getting fucking rubbing tugs like it's no fucking tomorrow, dude.
Going to be walking to the stadium just getting jerked off.
He should have went to the Raiders. You know, I bet you if his free agency was this year and he had to make the choice, it was probably going to be Vegas.
Yeah.
So, well, all right, fellas. I think that does it. Any final parting words? We might do a draft special or something come April or May, whenever the fuck that is. So
yeah, but you guys don't even watch fucking college football. What, am I just going to talk to myself that whole fucking episode?
Maybe we do like a free agency wrap up, because free agency is before the draft, right?
March 1st.
Maybe after the draft, maybe we do maybe once the draft wraps up, do like a free agency draft combo, like where do the teams stand so far in the offseason.
Not a pre-draft show, a post-draft show, we'll call it.
I thought you meant a pre-draft. I was like, what the fuck? You guys just want me to talk to myself about college football the whole time?
I watched exactly 1 3/4 of a college football game this season.
Exactly. How much did you watch, Hawk?
I don't like to watch boys play sports. I like to watch men play sports.
All right, take it easy, weirdo.
So
Don't get all Pete.
I'm the weirdo. You're the one who likes to watch boys play sports. Okay. So I guess that does it then. It's been real, fellas. We made friends or acquaintances, or are we still on for tomorrow, Seth? Do we still
We're on
have
for tomorrow. The rap Jordan's invite for the rap party still stands. If he can make it to the Wolf Chase Buffalo Wild Wings by tomorrow.
All right. Well, we'll talk about it after we end this broadcast.
We'll FaceTime you after from the B-dubs, Jordan.
Okay. I'll make sure I'm not wearing any clothes.
Oh my God.
Oh, sweet. All right. On that note.